Lines up on pole position, and P2 goes to Nick de Vries, a strong showing from the Dutch driver. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Tete Camara, Schumacher, Nicholas Latifi, and Joe, King, Hubert, Matsushita, Jack Aitken, Boschon, Mazepin, Calamirot, and Galeo, Giotto, Delatraz, Correa, and Giuliano Alesi. Raghunathan and Tatiana Calderon completes the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Hello everybody and welcome back to F1 2019 and our F2 career. So practice and qualifying for Silverstone was in the dry, and both the feature race and the sprint race are set to take place in the rain, and not just in the rain, in an absolute downpour in what is possibly some of the worst conditions I have ever driven in the F1 games ever. But we are on pole for the feature race after setting a good time in the dry qualifying session. So hopefully we can keep the momentum going into the race and expand our championship league, and just really hoping to not screw up tremendously in this absolute downpour, which doesn't seem to affect our crew members. They seem to be just fine in t-shirts. But anyway, it's time now to head to the grid for the start of the feature race. All right, we hold in the clutch, rev up the engine, 5 lights. Lights out, and we are racing. Big stall in the first engine there up against the rev limiter. Big wheel spin right there. We're going to lose a whole bunch of positions down to P3 as we head through Abbey for the first time, through Farm Curve onto Village, down to P3. So not really the worst start in the world. You can see we're already losing traction as we head through Village towards the loop. And that's the thing of this whole race weekend, is going to be just the lack of grip. And you can see it just on this first lap. You can't really see anything. The weather is just so bad. And again, I mean, practice and qualifying was completely in the dry, so we had no experience with this. As Schumacher looks to our inside as we head to Brooklands and then to Luffield. So P3 for the time being in this 7-lap feature race. So Nick de Vries out in front with Tete Camara in second. We have fallen to third as we get really squirrely there out of left field. Through Woodcote, down what used to be the front straightaway for the Silverstone track. And, you know, it's got to be said, I used to really not enjoy Silverstone when I started racing the F1 games, or back in the Forza and Gran Turismo days. But this layout, the new version that we have of Silverstone track, I really enjoy. And without a doubt, I think my favorite whole part of this whole track is Maggots and Beckett's, and then up through the Chapel Curve. But yeah, this new version is just so much better than what it used to be. I used to really not like Silverstone, but now I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite tracks on the calendar. So as we get towards the end of lap 1, we now go almost just a little bit ahead. We're into turn 2 as we head to Brooklands. You can see it's a little bit better when you're not behind someone, but it's still just absolutely treacherous. It's still pretty difficult to see with all the rain on the lens, and the traction is just not there. You're having to drive so close as we get really loose out of left field. Even more, we're completely sideways and off the track a little bit through Woodcote. Here comes Schumacher around the outside. He's going to take the spot. Now Zhao is going to look. He's not going to be able to get anything done hitting the cops. So we're going to hold on to P4 right now, but we've lost yet another position in this race. And I just don't know if we're going to be able to move forward in this race, just because of how much we're struggling for grip. It doesn't seem like the AI are having as much problems as we are. And it's every time we step on the gas, it's just something in the car loses all sorts of momentum as we completely lose it out of the Chapel Curve onto the Hangar Straight. But moving ahead now to lap 3, you can see we've gained a little bit of ground on Schumacher. We're still right behind him. And yellow flags are out, and I didn't notice it at first. Maybe you noticed it, but that is actually Schumacher who's blowing his engine in front of us. Couldn't really see because it just looked like normal spray. But we noticed right here when he slows down, Schumacher has blown an engine and is out of the feature race. And that is absolute heartbreaker for Mick, as he was on track for a podium. But that is good news for us, as it puts us back into P3 for the time being. But we are just absolutely miles behind Tete Camara and Nick de Vries at this time. And if you also look in the bottom left there, you can see as we completely lose it heading towards the loop. A couple cars are in the pits, and they actually pitted quite a few times throughout this race, and I'm still not sure why. It's like they went on intermediates and realized it was a bad idea.
Circuit's definitely looking better than it was a few minutes ago. If we could just move a bit more of that standing water, we might be able to get onto the intermediates.
And two things there. One, that's kind of why I thought it, but at the same time, I thought he is an absolute liar, because this circuit is terrible. As you can see how much we're struggling for grip. Zhao almost getting past us there. I mean, we are sliding through every corner of this track, and yet somehow this track is supposedly getting better. To me, it's only getting worse. So on to lap 5 here as we are on the end of the track here through Stal and Vale, heading towards Club. You can see just how far ahead they have gotten from us at this point. I mean, it's not even close. You can see Nick DeVries running a 2-lap. Our best is a 2:02, so we are absolutely just pitiful on pace. And Zhao and the rest of the crew just, you can see, are pretty much right behind us in the train, but there is sort of gaps. But just Sete Camara and DeVries, they're absolutely flying away with this one. Even if I had gotten a decent start, I don't think I'd be able to hold them off for all 7 laps, as we're just really, really struggling. We take it wide there through Village and into the loop. A couple of corners I normally love in the drive, but in the wet, it's just absolutely treacherous because you kind of have to come to a dead stop as we completely lose it there, allowing Zhao and Hubert to get up to us. So because of that, it's actually going to allow Hubert to get alongside Zhao down the hangar straightaway towards Brooklands. And Hubert has such a run, he actually looks at us for a second, but not even get done. So now Antoine Hubert up to P4 ahead of Zhao. And so we inadvertently caused a position change there for P4. But for us, we're going to stay in P3, and we're just kind of trying to tiptoe it at this point to see if we can stay on the podium in this absolute downpour as we continue to run P3 on lap 6. Hubert's going to take a look to the inside but thinks better of it, which is really a good point, a good decision on his part, because Cops is not a place to pass. But here we are towards the end of lap 7, down the hangar straight towards Stowe, and you're going to be able to see here in a sec, Nick DeVries and Sete Camara just absolutely miles ahead as we hang out with Stowe. Nick DeVries has won the feature race. Sete Camara sets the fastest lap with a 2-minute, and our lap time still the best is a 2:02, so absolutely abysmal pace from us, but we are going to manage to hang on to a podium after starting on pole to finish P3.
All right, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
So Nick DeVries wins for ART. The Dams driver finishes second. We get third. Our teammate finishes P6, so good for him. You can see how far behind those cars that kept hitting were, and that includes a Dams car, which is not good for them. However, one of the Una Virtuosi cars does not score points. So to the driver standings, we now hold a 57-point lead over Sete Camara, and Aiken drops down to 4th as that battle for 2nd through 4th continues to heat up. And in the team standings, we continue to pull ahead with a 105-point gap. We head now to the sprint race with the inverted grid. We start P6 for a 5-lap race. 5 lights. We are racing in the sprint race. Another terrible rain. Start sideways even more, going over the left side of the track. We're going to get absolutely pounced on, fall to P8, so a couple spots lost. We did make contact with Maze Pin. Before that, as we head through farm curves toward Village for the first time, can't even see where we're going. We kind of just lock it up and lunge into the corner. A little bit of contact there. That's actually going to put us back to where we started in P6, as we're now back ahead of Sete Camara and Maze Pin. Now behind Antoine Hubert, who did start, who finished right behind us. So we are right back to where we started. So all in all, I guess it's a good start. However, just absolutely no traction in the wet. I mean, of course, we haven't been getting good starts regardless so far this season, but it was really bad there in the rain. I mean, it absolutely flew us across the side of the track there. But through Luffield and then on to Woodcote for the first time.
We're through the start phase. Now let's build on it.
So we're back to where we started. Hopefully I can get a couple of positions here. I'm thinking maybe we can get a podium Now that I had a race in these conditions, I think I maybe understand how to drive it a little bit more. Also, the faster cars are now behind us, so in theory, the slower cars are in front of us, so it should make overtaking a little bit easier. But of course, in Formula 2, all the cars are equal, so it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be easy to pass. It's not like if Formula 1 had the inverted grids where it is, in fact, slower cars out in front. So through the chapel curve, onto the hangar straight, Hubert with a small gap, about a half a second in front of us, where we are on to P6 through the end of the first lap. So all in all, I can't really complain because we are right where we started. And that's more than I can say for half of these F2 races this season. On now into just a little bit into the start of lap 2. You can see we get a little bit sideways there through Village, now into the loop. So we head to Antry, we completely lose it. Here comes Sete Camaro with a run, but he's not going to be able to do anything through Antry, but we lose it again, which is going to be a good run down the Wellington straight towards Brooklands. But here comes Mazepin. He's going to have a huge run. He's going to look up our inside into Brooklands, but not able to get done, so we're going to be able to hold on to position. But it does allow Mazepin to take the 7th spot from Sete Camaro, and now he is down to 8th, which is not what the Dams team need if they are any hope of staying in 2nd or even catching us in the Constructors' Championship at this point. But we have lost even more ground to Hubert as we now jump to lap 4. We have started to gain it just a little bit, but we get through the start of this lap really good through Abbey and Farm Curve, which puts us to the inside of Hubert heading into Village. We're going to take P5, so we've now gained 1 spot in this race. We're going to be right behind Zhao, and it looks like the reason for this is Illet. He seems to be really slow here, and he's holding up everyone, because you can see the Dams driver, I believe it is, or whoever's in first, has absolutely driven away here. So it seems like Illet is slowing up this pack, which has allowed us to catch back up and actually go purple there as we head into Brooklands. We're going to look to the outside of Zhao, which will then put us on the inside of Lovefield. Taking a quick peek and a little bit of contact, but no harm, no foul, no damage to either of us. Although if that was real life, definitely would be a flat on Zhao's part. But we hold on to P5 for now as we have to get caught on the course. So yes, that is Matsushita in the lead of this race, so I was correct there. As we get right up on Zhao as we head through Cups onto Nuggets and Beckett's. Even though we have this run, there's just nothing we can do with it because you can't pass a Nuggets and Beckett's. It's, you know, it's a single lane set of corners. But if we can set ourselves up good through the Chapel Curve, we have a chance with the momentum down the hangar straight to maybe make a move. As we head out of the Chapel Curve, we're just too far back. We're not going to get anything done on Zhao here. So maybe so right here we need to set up maybe a good momentum boost through Stowe heading towards the club section. And we do get a good run there. We're going to catch Zhao a little bit. We're just going to have to wait to make our move.
Final lap of the race.
As we head to lap 5. So we couldn't do anything through that section, but here we go. Through the farm curve, we're going to look to the inside on Village, and for the 2nd lap in a row, we're able to make a pass there. However, we go completely wide of the corner, and we're going to lose the spot to Zhao, trying not to make contact through the loop. So we had the position, we had P4 in hands, but just completely lost traction through the Village corner, and we have lost out on 4th. So we are back to 5th, and they are miles ahead, and there's no way we're going to be able to catch Zhao. And now we just have to hope Hubert can't get up to us as we head through Brooklands. So we had the glory, we had P4 and a possibility to get 3rd, and it is gone on the final lap of this sprint race, and you're going to be relegated to 5th. You can see we did start to catch Zhao again, but as we head through Stowe, the only real passing spot here is in the club, and we're just too far back. We're not going to be able to get on, even though Ilat completely held them up. So it's going to be P5 for us. Matsushita wins the sprint race here at Silverstone, and we are going to come home P5 sideways.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
So there it is. Matsushita wins. Islet comes 2nd. Aiken gets 3rd for us, which is great. Only 1 Dams and 1 Univirtuosi. Only 1 Univirtuosi car in the points. This allows Aiken to get back up to 3rd in the driver's standings as we continue to cruise away, now 62 points ahead of Sete Camara. Meanwhile, over in the team standings, we now have a 120-point lead, and we're looking comfortable for the lead of the Constructors' Championship, and Univirtuosi starting to lose their grip on the Dams team. But anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. It is the Hungaroring after that, one of my favorite tracks on the F1 calendar. Hope to see you there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.